Good morning. It is Tuesday, June 1st, 2010. My name is Jim Mayola, and it is my pleasure to be interviewing Hellen Widerman. And Helen, you told me that you were born in 1927, and you are going to be 83 this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Now, you grew up on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it was a dairy farm. There were about 70 tillable acres, and we had horses and cows and chickens and ducks and guineas and everything you could think of animal-wise. And the farm was a great place for my brother and I to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
We've often said that. And in the wintertime, we would get snowed in, so my father would use the sleigh to take my brother and I out to meet the bus at Melrose,
Okay.
at Krebs's store.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the spring, well, I might add, along with that, we took our sleds along. And then in the evening when we got off the school bus, we could go in back of Krebs's store and flop down our sleds and ride right up to the back door of our house.
No kidding.
Yeah, because the snow was deep and it didn't have a crust on it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Now you mentioned that your father did not have a tractor. He
No.
tilled with horsepower, I guess.
Horsepower, yeah.
No kidding. Now, did you use horses or mules?
Horses,
Okay. And 70 acres by horsepower.
right.
That was a big job.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And so what kind of crops did you raise?
Well, there was hay, of course, and corn and wheat. I think some barley, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that you needed for the animals.
Right. Now, you had a dairy farm.
Dairy farm.
Do you remember how many cows you had?
Well, usually around, I think, 8 or 9
Okay.
cows.
Mm-hmm. And that kept you pretty busy.
Well, my mother and father, they did the milking.
Okay.
My brother and I, they didn't require us to do the milking.
Okay, well, what chores did you have?
Well, I remember feeding the ducks, which was a really messy job, because when they see food, you really go after it, and you
Mhm.
get it all over your legs, and that was a messy job. And then I remember little calves, when they would be taken off their mother, then you fed them in a bucket,
Mm-hmm.
and of course they would butt the bucket, and that was a little difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last year we were on the farm, I loaded all the hay that was loaded.
Wow.
And then it was taken to the barn, and there was a hay fork that would go down into the hay, and then there was a horse that would pull the hay fork up to the mow, and then there was a long line that would jerk and drop it off. And I was driving the horse out and turning around, coming back in, and do another load.
No kidding. Wow. And how old would you have been then?
Well, I was 15 when we left the farm,
Okay.
so like 13, 14.
Mm-hmm. So a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was your brother older than you or younger than you?
2 years older.
2 years older.
Mhm.
So he probably had different chores.
No, he didn't like the farm, so as soon as he could leave, he left.
Okay.
And he went in the Navy.
Did he?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you said that your parents did all the milking.
Mhm.
So did you actually sell the milk, or did?
Yes.
Okay.
Every morning my father would take it out to the end of our lane,
Mm-hmm.
and then a truck would pick it up and bring it into Westminster.
Okay.
And from there, I'm not sure what happened to it.
Right. Now, did your family make its own butter? Did you ever do
Yes.
that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And it was so much fun to lick the butter right with your finger.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Tell me what it was like to make butter.
Well, it's a churn. It's a wooden churn, and you put the milk in there and you churn and churn and churn, and it turns to butter.
No
And
kidding.
then you take it out in a big hunk, and
Mm-hmm.
we always had good butter.
Homemade butter is a little bit
Oh.
different than store-bought butter, isn't it?
Yes. And then the milk too. The milk wasn't pasteurized,
Mm-hmm.
and I drank a lot of unpasteurized milk, and I'm going on 83, so that proves it doesn't hurt you.
Well, you did pretty well, it
Yeah.
seems.
Yeah.
Now, you were going to tell me about butchering hogs.
Yeah.
As a young lady, you got to see your family butcher hogs.
Right.
And there's a whole process to that.
Right.
Can you tell me about the process? Let's start from the beginning and take us all the way through that process. How does that go?
Well, a date was picked, and it was always done in November. And there was a man in Melrose who knew how to cut up meat and do the whole process.
Okay.
So he was contacted for a date. And then a couple neighbors were contacted, and they would come and help.
Now, was this the kind of thing where one neighbor would help other neighbors, and then you'd go to the next person's house and work with them as well?
Right.
So did pretty much every family have a hog or two that they would butcher this time of the year?
I don't think every neighbor did. I don't know what they did for meat.
Several of the farms would, though.
Yes.
Okay, and why November?
Because it's getting colder.
Okay.
And you needed to have cool weather to do it.
Okay. So what did you do?
Well, it was a big day. These people would come to help, and my father would kill the hogs with a revolver. And I know one time my brother wanted to stay home from school because he wanted to see the hogs shot. So he went out with my father. After shooting the first hog, that was enough for him. He came back to the house. He didn't like that part of the process.
He had seen enough.
Yeah. So then they'd have these like teepee frames of wooden frames with hooks on them, and the hogs would be taken out and hung up on these hooks, and then they would be cut open. And from there on, that's where the man that really knew how to handle the meat, he would take over, and I just really don't know a lot about that process. But then we had a basement with a big fireplace that had a big a pot in there, and they would start a fire, and the meat would be brought in, and there was a process for making sausage. We had a sausage maker, and the entrails of the hog would be washed and really scrubbed, and then they would be slipped over like the mouth of this sausage maker, and you put the meat in there and turn that, and the sausage would come out in this casing.
Right. And so the intestines of the hog became the casing that went around the outside of the sausage.
Right.
And so you mixed the meat with spices?
Yeah, spices. My father knew how to do that. And then his method was to sugar cure.
Okay.
And so all the hams and the all parts of the big parts of the hog would be laid out on a big table, and then he would use I really don't know, salt and pepper and saltpeter, and I don't know what else. Maybe some sugar. I don't know. And he would rub all this over the pieces that were laid out here.
Right.
And then they would be hung up in a smokehouse. And they'd be smoked for a period of time. I don't know just how long that process was.
And that cured it, kept it from spoiling.
And kept it, right.
Because you didn't have much refrigeration in those days.
No.
You didn't have any.
We didn't even have electricity.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
So no telephone.
We had a telephone.
You had a telephone, but no electricity.
No electricity.
Okay, so no electric lights. You use candles and kerosene lamps.
Yeah, that was my job, to wash them every Saturday.
No
and
kidding.
fill them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a different world, wasn't it?
It really was.
It really was, yeah.
Yeah.
So no television.
Oh, no television.
No radio.
We had a radio, but the battery would run down, and you'd have to get the battery recharged.
No kidding. Okay.
So
what did you do for entertainment in the household?
You know, I don't remember much entertainment. I mean, we'd come home from school, and it wasn't unusual for my mother to have baked 5 pies during the day. And my brother and I would spread out the paper where the funnies were and get 1 pie and get down on the floor. We'd eat a whole pie reading the funnies. And then we had to gather eggs, and we had a spring house where we kept things cold. So you had to run back and forth to the spring house.
So the spring house then became your refrigerator.
Right.
Because it kept everything at around 55 degrees or so.
Yes.
So what did you keep in the spring house?
Milk, butter, cheese, and it was divided. There was like two troughs, and the one would be shallow where you could put milk and butter and that sort of thing. And then there was a deep part where you would sit the milk cans
Okay.
and kept the milk whole until the next morning when my father would take it out to the end of the lane.
To be collected.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about vegetables? You had a garden, of course.
We had a big garden. We had all kind of vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So did you also have like a pantry where you would put vegetables up? I guess, did your mom do
My
canning?
mother did a lot of canning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in
And
those,
she even canned some of the meat.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Sunday meat.
Mm-hmm.
So
So that was special.
right.
Okay. Now, did you can fresh meat? I know they would put it in the
In
ball
quart-
jars just like they did
Yeah.
vegetables.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would. My mother would put it in quart jars or maybe half-gallon jars,
Mm-hmm.
and then put it in hot water, and
Mm-hmm.
you know that was a process to preserve food then.
And then it could be used for stews or something
Right.
later on.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So nothing was wasted.
Nothing was wasted.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Ah.
And I guess not having electricity and not having a computer in your house and not having video games and television and all of that, you seem to have done pretty well.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And so I guess when it got dark, it was time to go to bed.
You went to bed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We used to say we went to bed with the chickens.
That's right.
That's right. Because
That's
the
about
chickens
right.
go to bed when it gets
Right.
dark.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then you got up when the sun came up in the
That's
morning, or
right.
probably before the sun
Yeah.
came up.
In the
Mhm.
wintertime, it would be long before. Yeah.
How did you heat your house in the winter?
We had a cook stove in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about it until some later years. My parents bought a big. It was called a heat troller. It was a big, stood about that tall, and you could put either wood or coal, and that would pretty much heat, the upstairs. And,
Okay.
and it was a big improvement over
Mhm.
just having the wood stove in the kitchen.
So you cooked off of the wood stove.
Uh-huh.
So in the summertime, you cooked off of the wood stove. So I imagine the kitchen got a little warm.
Well, they had mother had a gas stove
Mm-hmm.
that she cooked on in the summertime to
Oh.
avoid heating up the house.
Okay. Now, was this natural gas, or do you know?
I'm sure it was not natural gas.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't.
I'm not sure what provided the
Mhm.
heat there.
It wasn't gasoline.
No.
No, it wasn't.
Maybe coal.
Coal.
Maybe coal
Oil,
I'm not sure.
maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And I remember the cook stove had a tank on the end of it, and it was my job to fill that tank with water, so we would
Mhm.
have hot water.
Hot water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
And you used the hot water for anything you needed warm water for.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Washing dishes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Taking
Yeah.
baths.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, did you have a hand pump for your water?
We had running water in the kitchen,
Okay.
and that was the only running water we had. in
Cold
the
water.
house. Cold water.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. How interesting.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about school. What was school like?
Well, Manchester School at that time, by today's standards, would be considered a small school, and we only went 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
You started when you were 6. You had to be 6 by the 1st of December. So my birthday being the 7th of December, I could not start until the next school year started.
So you started a year late.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
What a shame.
well, it turned out all right.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's held you back any.
No.
So you went through all 11 grades?
Yes.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you learned?
Well, I was really interested in athletics, and I
Mhm.
got the Girls Athletic Award when I graduated.
Did you?
And we didn't have all the subjects they have now. There were no electives.
Mhm.
You had, well, in high school they called it POD, which would be comparable today to what? That was called Problems of Democracy.
Yeah.
So it'd be some sort of civil
Mm-hmm.
class
Civics.
now.
Yeah.
And we got in high school, after the second year we had no math. We had first year in high school we had some geometry and but nothing like trigonometry. What is it?
Trigonometry.
Trigonometry.
And algebra.
A little bit of algebra, not
Okay.
much. So in the math area we were kind of limited. But I had French and biology and chemistry, which I didn't do that well in. It didn't interest me at all.
Right. And history.
Pardon?
History.
Oh, history. We had
and
history.
probably English.
And English. Yeah,
Yes.
English was absolutely necessary.
And you learned how to write. And you probably got cursive writing. How to
Well,
write.
no, we didn't.
No.
No. I didn't get that till, I don't know what grade. We started out printing. I remember that in the first grade. And I don't remember when we started cursive. But it was, it was a good school career.
Good solid education.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent.
And then after high school, I went to Baltimore Business College.
Okay.
And because I had taken the academic course in high school, so I really didn't have any means to make a living. So I took the business course at Baltimore Business College.
Right.
And very fortunate to get on Court Street and work for an attorney, Ralph Huffman, for I think 7 years. And then I had my family, and I stayed home for 22 years.
Okay.
And then the girls, I had 2 daughters, and they were college age, so I thought I better go to work and help them get these girls through college. So I went back on Court Street into district court. And I worked there for 4 years, and Judge Burns was a judge in district court, and he was elevated to the circuit court, and he asked me if I would go with him as his secretary. So that was a great break for me. So I was with him for 12 years, and then I retired.
Now that's right here in Westminster?
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So what year did you retire?
1991.
Okay. So you worked in the court system in the 70s and 80s
Right,
then?
yes,
Okay.
We had one famous murder trial here
Okay.
in Carroll County, and I was working at that time, and Judge Burns was the judge for that trial.
Okay. So when did you move into Westminster?
When I got married, 1948.
Okay.
Might have been 49, because that soon after the war, it was hard to find a place to live. But a place became available, an apartment on the 3rd floor at the W.H. Davis Company.
Okay.
And we moved into a 3-room apartment there.
And that's in Westminster?
In Westminster.
And where was that located?
On Main Street.
On Main Street. What was Main Street like in 1949?
Very different from what it is now.
Okay.
On Friday night, you had to elbow your way to get down Main Street.
And why would that be?
I think the farmers would come into town, and that was just shopping night for the families.
Okay. And what kind of stores did we have on Main Street in 1949?
Well, there was a Rosenstock's clothing store, and then there was a grocery store down on the corner of Main and Route 27, where the train comes through.
Right.
There was a grocery store there. Then there was another clothing store, P.G. Kaufman's. You could buy shoes there. And then there were little restaurants where you could eat. One of them was, and it's still going, the Texas Hot Wiener, famous hot dogs.
Oh, yes.
And now it's Harry's.
Harry's
hot dogs.
No kidding.
So that was on Main Street.
Okay.
And
yeah, Harry's has been there for a long time.
There were a couple drug stores. And movie theaters. We had 2 movie theaters.
Okay.
One showed Western movies, and the other one showed whatever was current.
Now, did you ever go to the movies to see the movies?
Oh, yes, yes. because that, you didn't travel that much after the war. Took a while for cars to become available, and so you didn't do a lot of traveling. Then you did what was near you. You
Right.
took advantage of what was nearby.
Okay. Now you're talking about World War II.
Yes.
Okay. Now, where did you live during World War II?
Lived on the farm, and you got the ration tickets. Gas was rationed, and sugar was rationed, and coffee was rationed. Butter, I remember butter. You bought a pound. It looked like after we got off the farm. It was white to begin with, and you got a little envelope that had coloring, and you put that coloring in that pound of butter, and you mix it all up so it looked like butter.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it margarine then, or was it really butter?
It wasn't really butter.
Okay.
I guess it'd be comparable maybe to oleo. I don't know.
Okay. How interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you suffer much during the war? I mean, you were saying that there was rationing, so that you couldn't.
No.
Okay.
No.
People got by okay.
Everybody was patriotic then, so nobody complained about not having sugar or coffee or gasoline or that sort of thing.
Just made do.
Made do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so what other things what other experiences did you have during the war? I guess there weren't a lot of young men around.
No. No, there wasn't. It's good I wasn't at the dating age. There wouldn't have been anybody to date,
No kidding. Yeah.
So, but then after the war, the boys all started to come home, and then there was plenty of dating, which was really a change. I was 18 then, so that was
good.
a good age.
Good age to be 18, with all the boys coming back.
With all the boys coming back. Yeah.
Now, what about jobs? I imagine with so many young men coming back, it was hard for them to find work. Did you notice any changes?
Well, of course, during the war, Van L. Martin was a big employer. People would drive down from Pennsylvania to work there.
Okay.
And then the shipyards was a big employer. And the local, there wasn't much employment locally. I did work in a little grocery store on weekends, and I remember Saturday morning it was my job to take all the meat out of the meat case and clean it and put the meat back in. So.
And that was in the grocery store.
Yeah. And then in the summertime, Cascade Lake was a very popular place. And so you go swimming every Sunday at Cascade Lake.
Cascade Lake is still a popular place.
Yeah.
Of course, now people can drive down to Ocean City.
Right.
I guess that was our local Ocean City then.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what was it like? What was Cascade Lake like then?
Oh, it was great. Every summer when you would go down for the first time, you'd get a friend to take a rowboat, and you would see if you could swim from the raft that was out in the middle, if you could swim down to the breast. And if you did that, you felt like you're in pretty good shape.
And was there a large crowd there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it'd be a large crowd.
And besides swimming and picnicking, what else did they do? I guess.
At Cascade Lake? That was about it. It was mostly swimming, and people would bring their food, and make a picnic out of it.
Okay.
So, but we were fortunate. There was a neighboring farmer that had a large pond. I think he had it for protection, fire protection probably. And people could come there and swim. And so my brother and I, we went swimming almost every day. So we became pretty good swimmers.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the holidays a little bit? What were the holidays like? How about 4th of July? What did you do on 4th of July?
Nothing special.
Nothing special.
Nothing special, no.
Now, we just had a Memorial Day parade here in Westminster. Did they have Memorial Day parades then?
No,
do you recall?
no, because of the gasoline shortage.
Right.
None of that went on during the war, and it took a little while after the war to get back into all these things.
Okay. How about, can you remember Christmas on the farm? What was that like?
Well, my parents were from Winchester, Virginia, and we would try to go to Winchester for Christmas. So we didn't have a big Christmas at home. We would go to Winchester and visit family. So that was usually what our Christmas was like.
And what was Christmas like? Did you have a tree in the house? And
If we were going to Virginia, we didn't put up a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one Christmas, my brother and I both got little red scooters, and that sticks out in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't give a lot of presents. You had candy
Mm-hmm.
and cookies, but there wasn't a lot of gift giving.
Just a chance for the family to be together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was still the Depression was, you still were living sort of like you lived during the Depression, and you're still conservative and.
So you grew up during the Depression.
Yes.
Now, it didn't hit the farm probably
No.
as hard as it hit people that lived in the cities.
No, farmers were very fortunate because you had your own food,
Right.
and you had shelter,
Mm-hmm.
and you had my father being a dairy farmer, we had a monthly check,
Mm-hmm.
$35
For your milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So you lived very, very conservatively.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you know any other people that might have been from the cities and hear any stories about what happened to them?
No, not really.
During the Depression, I understand
Yeah.
a lot of people
No.
lost their homes and
I
lost their
know.
jobs,
Mhm.
and so it was
Bread lines
pretty
and
tough,
so forth.
yes. Mhm.
No, I didn't witness that, and
Mhm.
really didn't know anybody experiencing that.
Mhm. So the people that lived off the land in the country fared a lot better than the
Yeah,
people
right.
that lived in the
Mhm.
cities where they might have lost their
Right.
employment. Mm-hmm.
And there was a canning factory there in Melrose, and in the summertime they would bring up people from the city,
Mm-hmm.
and they lived in just wooden shacks, like be a long arrangement whereby everybody would have like a room,
Mm-hmm.
and that was adjacent to our farm.
Hmm.
So they would come up to buy chickens and tomatoes and whatever we had to sell.
Wow.
And so that was
So they were like seasonal workers then,
right.
that stayed in these little houses.
Yeah, very
While
primitive.
while they were canning,
Mhm.
while they were, and I guess it was while the crops were coming in, whatever they were canning.
Right.
If they were doing tomatoes or
Tomatoes,
beans. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were the main,
Mhm.
and peas.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be peas, beans, and tomatoes.
So for the 2 or 3 weeks that those crops came in, they were worked feverishly to get them
Right.
canned up.
Yeah.
And then, so they stayed in the houses for that time, and I guess
Mhm.
then they went back to the cities with their wages.
Yeah, and they looked on it as a vacation. They loved
Mhm.
doing it, coming up,
Okay.
because it was out in the country,
Mhm.
and very different
Mhm.
living style for
Mhm.
them.
And then the cans of beans and peas and corn and tomatoes went all over the country.
Right. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
And you say that was close to your home?
Yes.
Well,
Where they
near the
lived
farm.
when
Mhm.
for the summer, it was adjacent to our farm.
Mm-hmm. Now, did your produce from your farm actually go to the canning company?
The tomatoes did,
Mhm.
and the peas,
Mm-hmm.
and I think those were the two main foods that my father grew.
And I suspect many of your neighbors did the same thing.
Yes.
Because
Mhm.
that was a great way to sell
Mhm.
their produce
Yeah.
and make some money.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And was it a big operation?
It was for the for the area. It was. When I was 15, I went to work in the canning factory, and the canning factory owner wasn't. The law was that I think you had to be 16.
Right.
So he got into a little bit of trouble
Oh, goodness.
hiring 15-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
But I skinned tomatoes
Mm-hmm.
and made a little money that
Okay.
way.
Now tell me, how did you do that? What was the process?
Well, I guess they steam them or drop them in hot water, and then they'd bring a big bucket to you, and you'd
Mhm.
stand there and skin the tomatoes and
Mhm.
put them in another container, and they
Right.
would go on down. It was on a conveyor belt,
Right.
and that would go down to wherever, I don't know where, after it left me.
Now, was it an automated process? I mean, the cans were actually done on a conveyor belt, and they were just loaded up, or was it a hand process?
I think it was on a conveyor belt. I think.
Mhm.
And then I worked at another canning factory in Limber, and that was beans.
Mm-hmm.
And they would come down, they put them in a big cylinder and turn the cylinder, and it would get some of the nips off.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a conveyor belt, and we'd all be seated along this conveyor belt, and when we saw beans that needed to be nipped, we nipped them.
Right. No
And,
kidding.
they had prisoners of war that would come out and work in that factory.
Mm-hmm.
And they were mostly Germans.
Mm-hmm. Mostly men.
Yes.
Okay.
No, yeah, no women.
Yeah, and they worked on the canning factory
Mhm,
to
yeah.
have something to do and do something productive
Right.
until, I guess, until they were sent back, I suspect. Yeah.
And then at one point, Fort Meade sent soldiers out to help during the season, the growing season.
No kidding.
And there'd be a sergeant, and he would have a group of men, and they'd stay in houses around in Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a couple of them stayed at my mother's and father's house.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked during the week, and then on Saturday night, there was a dance in what was called the Chicken House.
Okay.
It had formerly been a chicken house,
No kidding.
but it became a dance hall.
Okay.
So you worked real hard all week, and then Saturday night you'd go to the dance.
Go to the chicken house
Go to the chicken house.
and have a dance. Now, what did they have for entertainment? What did they?
Be string music.
Mhm.
It was live music,
Okay.
and I think a couple of those people are still around and playing.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Local musicians.
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, I guess, like a barn dance?
Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. But was it more,
Paul
I guess?
Jones. You did Paul Jones.
Okay.
And Jitterbug. And
Okay, so we're talking swing music then.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How interesting. Yeah. And you had a good time.
Oh, we had a great time.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. And then in the summertime, you had carnivals. That was entertainment in the
Mhm.
summertime.
Now, the carnivals weren't like the carnivals that they have today. Did they have brides?
Yes.
Mhm. Okay, so they'd bring those.
They had a
And
Ferris wheel. I remember that. That
Okay.
might have been the only ride,
mm-hmm.
the Ferris wheel.
And games of chance.
Yes.
Okay.
And music.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have the country,
Okay.
mostly country entertainment.
Okay.
And
Now,
lots of food.
you probably remember the 4-H fairs then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wasn't a member of 4-H, but I do. We'd always go to the fair
Mm-hmm.
and take the children and
Mm-hmm.
see all the animals
Yeah.
and get a hot dog or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
So some of those traditions have stayed with us
Right.
for many years.
Yeah.
And they've been good.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of changes have you seen overall? What if you could say these are the 3 biggest changes that I've seen since I was a little girl? What would they be?
I think when they put 140 in, I remember we were riding on the old road, and they were working on 140, and my husband said, "They'll never use that. We'll never use that road." And now you know what traffic is like out on 140.
So lots of
I
traffic.
would say traffic is the biggest change that I
Mhm.
see. And I was thinking about Westminster really has everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
It has how many banks? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How many churches? Lots of churches.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stores, grocery stores. Everything that you need for living is right. You can have it right here in Westminster.
It certainly is convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's changed a little bit because it used to be just Main Street, wasn't it? Westminster was just Main Street.
Oh yes, after they put in
Yeah.
140, then that really started. All the building that's out there on 140
Mm-hmm.
and
So it's
the
expanded
mall.
a lot. Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing when the mall
Yeah.
came.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Do you have any advice for youngsters coming up today? What would you advise them? What would you tell them about living in the country? What would you suggest?
just to enjoy as much as you can,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe delve into the history
Mm-hmm.
so that they can be more appreciative of how we lived
Mm-hmm.
back then
Yes.
and how they live now.
Well, Helen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come in today and speak to me. It's been very enlightening. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I want to thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.